Hello everybody and welcome to a new chapter in this daily vlog series. I hope you're doing great today, and for today's video I wanted to talk about the end of Inktober. And yeah, so you're probably watching this somewhere near November 5th, but at the time that I recorded this video it was actually October 31st. And so yeah, it meant that it was the end of the Inktober challenge. And I've got a lot of mixed feelings about this challenge coming to an end, because in the beginning, if you would have told me that I would feel these bittersweet emotions, I would have told you that you were crazy, because actually, and as you might probably know already, I'm not very fond of inking, or I wasn't very fond of using ink in my work, and so I didn't really enjoy myself too much at the start of the challenge. But then when I noticed that I needed a little bit more of encouragement to make this happen, because I knew that if I kept on going with that mindset, I wouldn't even finish the challenge halfway through, because I would just feel so discouraged by it and so obligated to do it instead of having fun. And what I decided to do, as you might know, is these Instagram stories in which I let you guys choose the path the story was going to take, and then I would, depending on those decisions and the results and everything, I would then go ahead and create an illustration for that specific result. And yeah, so that's what I started doing, and I also attribute the fact to being more prone, or more willing to do the challenge, because I got this India ink. And so instead of working with pens and dry medium, which I don't usually like because I like a more painterly style, since I bought the inks, I started having so much more fun, because it was just like using watercolors just with one color, and it did behave differently, but not so different as to using pens or something like that, in which you can't really get the same results as you would with a water-based medium. So yeah, I wanted to talk in this video about how you can, maybe if you didn't end the challenge this year, maybe the next one, how you can get further into it. And so yeah, the first thing to consider is that you have to have the right mindset, because if you don't, then it's going to be very difficult for you to push through the end. And that's because you're going to see this as a chore instead of as something fun and something that can really help you grow as an artist. And so my first advice would be to take on a different perspective on this challenge, and not see it as something very hard to do, but just see it as something that you are something different to incorporate in your routine. I feel like the most important thing that this challenge teaches you is to be more organized, and to also have a better control of how you manage your time. And so that's one of the first tips that I will give you, to have the right mindset to go and have fun. You don't have to produce very detailed work, and you don't have to make masterpieces every time. So also keep that in mind. You can't just draw, I don't know, a small bee with a ballpoint pen, or an ant, or even something very tiny. I'm saying insects because that's the tiniest things that I can think about. But yeah, you can draw basically anything you want as long as it's with inks. So don't feel discouraged if you can't produce these massive amounts of illustrations, or if you just can't make bigger paintings. It's okay if you want to do very tiny ones, and it's not going to affect the end results of what you're going to learn. You can learn from anything you want, and from anything that you are actually putting effort and time into. So yeah, don't think that you have to have very big pieces in order to like participate in this challenge. So yeah, that's one of the advices that I wanted to throw out there. And so the next tip is to not really think about a lot about the concepts behind those paintings. Like, do not stress about them too much. Do not take them lightly also, but what I meant is, you don't have to come up with this great idea or great concept for every single piece. It's okay if you want to do just one detailed and very thought about piece, but you don't have to do it every single time. Like, you can just maybe do a prompt list. A lot of people do this, and there is an official Inktober list, and then there's lists that other users create for you to follow. And so those really make a difference for you in the days that you are not feeling very inspired, because it takes the pressure off, in the sense that you don't have to think about, like, you don't have as much options to work with. You can limit yourself with just a concept and try to follow that to the end. And yeah, and that's another advice that I had. And also another tip that I wanted to give is to experiment with the media, because if you like are like myself and enjoy a more painterly style or enjoy flowy washes of everything, not just ink but of watercolor and paint and all this stuff, then you're probably going to be better off buying Black India ink separately rather than just using a brush pen or maybe a ballpoint pen. So yeah, you really have to know yourself and know your style and know what you want to achieve, and so that you can tailor your approach to that effect that you desire to have. So yeah, experiment with different medium. Maybe you think you will enjoy Black India ink better than ballpoint pens, but still experiment and try and see what works best for you, because you can really be surprised about how different it is when you think about stuff in black and white versus when you do it. So yeah, now another tip is to don't worry too much about like developing a style during the process, because you're bound to develop it. I made this mistake actually, and all of these tips that I'm giving, they're based on my personal experience, so those are the things that I think I learned from this challenge. And so one of them was to not stress a lot about style and all of this stuff, because in the beginning I was really trying to change my style overall, not just for Inktober drawings but also for my watercolors and my regular work. And so I was feeling the pressure of not being able to produce anything good, because in this shape of style you start to experiment with another kind of techniques and concepts and everything, and so you don't really get enough time to make mistakes, because you try to push yourself to produce stuff that is good for your Instagram or for whatever it is that you're uploading them. So do not stress a lot about that. And yeah, I think those are the main tips that I wanted to throw out there. If you happen to have any other tips that you would like to share, then make sure to leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to become part of the herd, and I'll see you in the next one.